Hi YouTube family, my name is Vicky, and today video what we are going to learn is we are going to learn how to use SSM parameter store. Now what exactly the parameter store in the SSM, that is the system manager. Parameter store is used to store the secrets. Now let's suppose you have a database username and the password which you need to store it somewhere, or rather I would say, let's suppose there is a script, and while running the script you need to give any kind of credentials over there. It might be credentials to connect to a server, it might be a credentials to connect to a database, and you don't want to give that thing in the plain text. So how you are going to do that? That is where the system manager parameter store is going to help you a lot. So in today demo, what we are going to do is we are going to assume that we have the username and the password from the RDS database, okay, and we are going to store that thing in the parameter store, and we are going to create one lambda function, and the lambda function which we are going to create, that lambda function is going to call those values from the parameter store. We are also going to work with the IAM role here. Now why we are going to work with the IAM role? Because we need to provide the proper permission so that whosoever is going to run the lambda function is able to call all those things like the parameter store value. If the value is decrypted or encrypted, then the user is able to call those values. Now here I logged into my AWS account. Now the first thing which I need to do is I need to go to the system manager, and here is the system manager for me. So what you can do is you can type the system manager from here. You will get the system manager from here. Now here you have lots and lots of options. So the option which we are going to demo today, that is the parameter store. So once you click on the parameter store, it will open something like this. I have couple of parameters which are already created. We are going to create a new parameter, and the thing which we are going to assume that we have a RDS username and the password right now with us, okay, and that is something we are going to store in the parameter. So create parameter. Now whenever we are creating a parameter, it is always recommended that we create our parameter in such a way that it is going to be a project name, then the environment, and then the actual name of the thing which we are going to use. So let's suppose I want to store the the URL of the database. So how I can do that? So let's suppose my app is going to be my project name, then the environment is going to be dev environment, and then let's suppose db_url, okay. Here in the description I can type like it is for the dev environment or something. So let me type dev environment or something like that. Here we have the standard and advanced. So right now I'm going with the standard, and here in the type I have three types. One is the string, the other one is a string list, and the third one is the secured string. For this I will go with the string, and from here I will select the text only. Let me go text, and here in the value I will provide the URL value. So let me give the URL value. I'm just assuming this is going to be the URL of my database. This is not an actual database. We have not created the actual database, but once you have the actual database username or the URL with you, you can use that thing as well. We are just assuming for this demo. So database my app, something like that, .com 3306 is the the port number for the RDS, and let me create a parameter. Now once I have created the parameter, I will show, it is going to show my parameter here, and here is the value, okay. Now let me go back to the parameter store and create one more value in the parameter store, and I'm going to create in the same way, like the first name is going to be my app, right? So my app is going to be the name, something like that. So let me create parameter. It is my app dev, it is going to be in the dev account, and this time it is going to be the db_password, right, password, and in the description I can type password to connect db, something like that. Now this time I will go with the secured string, and here I need to select the KMS. KMS we know that is for the encryption and decryption. We can use the KMS key which is there in our account, or we can use the KMS which is in the different account. Now if you are not sure what exactly the KMS is, I have already created a video on the KMS. You can go and watch that video. you will get in the description. I will provide you the link in the description, or you can go to my channel and search for the KMS, you will get it. Now here I will go with the default KMS encryption that is provided by the AWS. Okay, and here in the value, let me provide the value something like welcome @123, something like that, and let me create a parameter. Now when I am going to use the secure string, what will happen if I go to this? Here the value is going to be encrypted. If I have access to the SSM parameter, then I can click on the show and it is going to show me the actual value, but this value is encrypted right now. Okay, now the step 1 is complete, where we have created the parameters for our application like the DB password and the DB URL. The next step for us is to go to the Lambda and create a function and test these parameters from there. So let me go to the Lambda. Let me open it in a new tab. Now here in the Lambda, the first thing which we need to do is we need to create a function. So how we can create a function? We need to click on the function and click on the create function, and here we have a lot of options. Again, I don't want to go into detail. I have already created a Lambda series. You can go and watch that video if you have no knowledge on the Lambda. Here I need to provide the function name, so my function is going to be my app test, something like this. And in the runtime, I'm going to select the Python 3.9. I'm going with the latest version, but if you are comfortable or if you are working on any other version, you can go with that, or if you are working with other application, then you can select that thing. Here we have the permissions as well, where it is going to have the role. Right now I'm not going to change anything in the role because we are going to edit the role after. We have the advanced setting as well, but let me go and create this function. It is not going to take much time. So we have the function created. Now here is our function which is created, and here if we are going to see, we have the test function as well. So let me delete this thing and let me replace it with my code which I have. So I already have a code with me, so I will explain this code to you, what exactly this code is. But before that, let me go to my parameter store and update this value. So we have this value, I think it's already updated. Yes, this is for the DB password. Yes, the same thing, and this is for the DB URL. Yes, it's exactly the same thing, but let me update it. Now let me copy this one and let me go to the Lambda and update here. Now if we see, the first thing which we are doing is import Boto3. So we are calling the Boto3 client so that we can call the API, the Python API from here. Okay, so Boto3. Now if you have no knowledge on the Boto3, you can go to the Boto3 documentation. This is the Boto3 documentation. Okay, Boto3 Python. This is to call the AWS services. So here we have all the available services from the AWS. Like in our case, we are using the SSM. So here is the SSM. So SSM, we have client, paginators, and the waiters. So if you see, we have these functions here. And what function I'm using in my script, if you see, we are calling the get parameter. Now why we are using the get parameter? Let me go here and let me search for the get parameter from here. Get underscore parameter. Now here is the one. Let me click on this. Now if we see the information, get information about a single parameter by specifying the parameter name. That is what exactly we are doing. If we look at our Lambda function, we are trying to call, this is the SSM parameter for this thing. So this is something we are trying to call, and we are going to print the value here. Okay, so that is the reason we are using the get parameter, but we do have the other thing as well. So if you want to explore more, you can go to the Boto3. Again, I have created a the series on the Boto3 as well. You can go and watch that video. You will get each and everything. Once you go to my page, you will get each and everything, every series over there, and you can watch it. Now let me go back. So the first thing which I am doing is the import Boto3 so that I can import the Boto client, and after that what I am doing is I'm going to use this SSM Boto3.client. Now if I scroll up a bit, so what exactly I'm doing, so I'm calling the client function, right? So here it is, Boto3.client. exactly the same thing, and after that I'm using one of the service from here. Let me go back. So it is the the function that is going to include the handler. This is the way by which we can write the Lambda function. So now here we have the DB URL and the DB password. For the DB URL, what exactly we are doing is we are calling the parameter, and where exactly this parameter is? This parameter is in the parameter store here. Okay, the same thing I am doing it for the DB username and the password. Now let me test it. Now first we need to deploy it so that whatever the changes I have done on the console, it is going to take effect, and then let's test it. And here we need to give the test name test, and let me save it and done it. Let me test it. Now here we are getting an error message. An error occurred, access denied when calling the get parameter operation. User this, assume role, error, client error. So why we are getting this error message right now? The reason is very simple, because we don't have access. This Lambda is assuming one of the role. So if I go to the configuration and if I go to the permission here, this role, and if I go to this role, right now this role has only basic permission to the Lambda. See, AWS Lambda basic execution role. This Lambda role does not have permission to get parameter from the SSM store. So what I need to do is I need to provide permission to this role. And how I can do that? So this is the role I have. This is the role which is attached to my Lambda, and here I'm going to add the permission. Now I'm going to attach the inline policy, and in the inline policy I'm going to create a policy. Now for what we need to create a policy? We need to create a policy for the SSM, right? For the system manager. Sorry, let me search with the system. Here it is. Now in the system manager we have n number of policies. We want to go with the limited access. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the read. In the read, what exactly we need to do is we need to give the get parameter and get parameter by path. Now why I'm giving get parameter by path? Because this is a path. This is a path, right? So that is the reason I am giving this policy with get parameter, so that the user is able to get the parameter out of it and get the parameter by path. Let me scroll down. Here we have the resources. Again, we can go with all the resources, but I want to go with the specific resource. So what I'm going to do is in the region I'm going to select any region. Okay, account is this, and the parameter name. Now here what I'm going to do is, this is my application path. So let me copy this thing and let me paste it here and give the start. So everything inside this, I think we need to remove this one here, parameter name without leading slash. I'm not sure that is something we can test, but this is, I'm going to give my app dev, and after dev whatever it is. Let me add this thing and let me create next. Let me review. Let me give a name, inline something, create policy. Now we have the policy created, but let's see our policy first. So what is the name of our, so this is the name. Let me copy this name. Let me search for it. Okay, we are not able to find anything, I think because of the space. Oh sorry, we are here only. Let me go and let me refresh. Oh, there is no inline policy attached. We did some mistake. Let me go back. Let me click on this. Let me close this thing first. Okay, let me go. Oh, we don't have the inline policy attached. So we did some mistake here. That's okay. Let me attach the inline policy one more time. Let me go to the policies. Let me create a policy. I think we have not saved the policy, so that's okay. System manager. So let me be very quick, because we know what exactly we need to select. Get parameter, get parameters, get parameter by path, get parameter. Okay, in the resources, let me go to all the specific resource, and let me add the ARN. In the ARN, let me copy it from here. Let me give star here so that everything inside this and the region. Okay. Create policy. Let's wait for it to complete first. Is the policy created? Yes, we have the policy created. Now let me go back to my policy. Let me go back to my role. Let me refresh. Again, why it is not showing any role attached? Okay, seems we are doing some mistake. Let me refresh this thing. Let me go to the role. Again, it is not showing the inline policy attached here. Let me correct this thing. Let me attach a role here, and for that time being I'm going to pause the video and I will come back once this is fixed. Okay, actually the mistake which I did is, rather than creating the inline policy, I have created the policy, not the inline policy. So that is the reason. So I have the policy already created. If I go to the policy and search with the inline, that was the name I gave. So see, here I have the policies. If you see, we have the policy here, the same get parameter by path, also this thing. So let me attach this policy inline test. So this is the one. Let me attach this policy to my role. And where is my role? Let me go back, or let me close this thing. Let me click on my role and let me go to the permission and attach policy. Let me search for the policy. Attach policy. We are done. We have attached this inline policy. Now let me go to my Lambda function. So here is my function. Let me refresh this thing. Let me go back. Whenever we are going to update our role or policy, it is going to take some time. So make sure you are going to wait. Let me deploy the changes and let me test it. So here I am able to call, and here I am able to get this value, right? So this value I am able to get, but because this value was in the string format, so I am able to call this value with the get parameter option. But if you look at the DB password, this value, it is showing me encrypted, right? As of now it is showing me this value. It is not showing me the actual value. And what was the actual value? If I go to the DB password, this is the actual value, welcome@123. But as of now it is showing me this value only in the encrypted format. Now what we can do is we can decrypt this value. For that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one thing here. So with decryption we can go with description is equal to true. So from where this is coming, if you go to this get parameter, if you go here, see, with description true or false. And if you want to read about what exactly this thing is, you can scroll down. Here you will get return decrypted value for secured string parameter. Okay, the flag is ignored for string and string list, and that is the reason why I have created my parameter. Let me go back here. My parameter, when I created this parameter, I have created the string, and we are able to call this string in our test function, right? We are able to call this thing because this value is going to ignore string and string list. It is only going to work on the secured string. And if we look at the other one, this is a secured string. The password is the secured string, so we need to provide this value. Now I have provided this value in my function with this. Let me deploy this thing and let me test it. welcome@123. This is what I'm getting right now. If still I'm not able to call this thing, the thing which I need to troubleshoot, let's suppose the value is not working and I'm getting the access denied. So what exactly you guys need to do, you need to provide the permission, KMS permission, the same way we have provided the permission related to the this thing, right, related to the SSM parameter store. You need to provide permission related to the KMS as well, but here it is working absolutely fine for me, right? So this is the way by which we can create a parameter and call that parameter in our script. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe my channel and hit the like button. Thank you.